On this channel, we have covered the best and the worst of Britain. We've done so many places, and I thought today, let's have a little comparison between every single place I've filmed on this channel. And trust me, there's quite a lot to get into, so yeah, sit back and let's just get into it. On this tier list, we're going from S tier all the way down to D tier, with of course C, A and B tier in the middle. Now, starting it off, we're going with good old Slough. Like, everyone hates Slough. Let's be completely honest, it's the most soulless place on planet Earth. It just feels dark, gloomy and disgusting, to be honest. And unfortunately many English towns are like this, right? But yeah, Slough, I'm gonna have to put it, unfortunately, it's gonna go in D tier. Like, it's not the worst place in the world. Like, there's some really good Pakistani and Indian restaurants, and as far as food goes, Pakistani and Indian food is incredible. But yeah, nonetheless, it's gonna have to go in D tier for me. Next up, we've got good old Hastings. Way better than Slough. Like, don't get me wrong, it's the most deprived town in Sussex, and it does have a crime rate issue. It probably felt about the same sort of safety issues as Slough. Slough, once again, isn't the most dangerous place in the world compared to other places we're going to compare on this list, but it has to go above. And there's a really cool funicular there as well. To be honest, it's not as bad as people say it is. I'm going to put Hastings actually in B tier, so yeah, we're going to throw it in B tier. Next up, we've got New Malden, which is an area inside sort of South London. Now, this was a really interesting video for me to make. It was like my 4th ever video on YouTube, and I just thought I'd drive to London just to sort of see what's there. And it's like a mini Korean exclave, and to be honest, it feels very English in very ways, but it feels very Korean. It's got the best of both worlds. They've got some really cool Seoul Plaza sort of areas, and they're essentially a supermarket that sells only Korean stuff. So you can get really awesome Oriental food that you can't get in most other areas of the UK. Generally it's not like got any cool buildings, to be honest, or anything like that. The people are fine. I mean, they're Londoners, so they're a bit, you know, Londony. Yeah, not too many smiley faces, I'll put it that way. So it's gonna go in B tier. It's just as good as Hastings, but for very different reasons. Up next, we're going for Dartford. It is the definition of a C tier place. I haven't really got anything bad to say about Dartford. It's got a nice park. It's got a really nice old library. There's a few roadmen, you know, and sort of hoods up walking around, but it's unfortunately London has its tentacles on Dartford now. So yeah, it's you walk down one street, as I said in the video, you know, one minute it's really nice and 1 minute it's really nasty. So it's the definition of a C tier place. We're gonna put it in C tier. Next is the definition of a D tier place. Arguably one of the worst, if not the worst place on this entire list, and that is Luton. Now, Luton is very similar to Slough in many ways, but it feels dangerous when you're there. Slough doesn't feel dangerous, to be honest. If someone told me I had to live in Slough, I'd be disappointed, but I wouldn't be scared. Whereas Luton, at night, I stayed there in a hotel, in a travel lodge in the city centre. And I know most cities do have their issues, but Luton in particular just felt dodgy. People just stare at you, and yeah, you don't feel safe at all, to be honest. And there's nothing really good to see there. In Luton as well. So yeah, Luton is definitely going in D tier. There's not much going for it, to be completely honest, in terms of putting it any higher than D tier, and I think everyone can agree with that. It almost needs its own tier, to be honest, but there we go. Next up, we've got Dover. Now, Dover's got its issues, but it does have a cool castle. People do semi-stare at you, and it doesn't feel like the safest place on earth, but I can't put it in the same category as Luton and Slough. But I don't really feel like I can put it in the same category as Dartford. That's sort of doing Dartford dirty, so I kind of have to put it in D tier, you know. But I don't know, we need more tiers. We need an F tier, to be honest. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in like the very top of D tier, but it might get moved up later in the video, to be honest. As I move up, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna move Dover up, and I'm gonna move Dartford up into B tier. That's what we're gonna do. Next up, we've got Gravesend. Now, Gravesend is not too bad. So underrated, the most underrated town in the entire county of Kent, to be honest. Like, it's got a really beautiful Gurdwara. Sikh people are amazing. There's a lot of Sikh people there. The retail parks are really clean as well. There's a common theme among UK towns where the retail parks are just filthy, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Like, the town centre felt very vibrant. we got invited into some sort of African dancing in the fort. So yes, there is a fort and a really old iron bridge as well. So there's tons of history there. Yeah, you know what? This is going to get so much hate, but I'm putting it in A tier. Gravesend is going in A tier. Next up, we've got an abandoned town of Waterlooville. It doesn't feel dangerous, it's just a bit bad. Now, as I said in my Waterloo video, and as you can see in the comments, apparently they've changed it up a little bit and they've made it a little bit nicer. So I'm gonna have to put it in C tier, purely because, yeah, it didn't feel dangerous. The people in Waterlooville were pretty friendly as well, nice people, good people. So I think C tier is fairly fair for Waterlooville. Next up is straight D tier, no debate. Tower Hamlets it's a hellhole. It's not as bad as Luton though, but it's definitely worse than Slough. Very high crime rate, gloomy, dark. There's good jobs, good salaries-ish, but generally speaking, yeah, it's expensive for no reason in London anyway, as we know. Unfortunately, many parts of London are just soulless, so yeah, these are my personal opinions, guys. You know, let me know in the comments if you disagree. I'm sure people already have at this point, but yeah, Tower Hamlets D tier, easy. Next up, I'm going to do Brighton. Next up, people from Brighton love to tell me they're from Brighton. It's very weird, but it is a nice place, let's be honest. You don't want to admit that it's a nice place, but it is a nice place. I don't like it as much as Gravesend, but I've got to put it above like New Malden and Dartford. So we're putting Brighton in A tier. I360 is ugly, but apart from that, it's pretty much fine. Next up, we've got Gosport, the most dangerous town in Hampshire. I got so much backlash for that video. Go and watch it if you haven't. It's a bit controversial, but yeah, no other town I've been to in Hampshire felt that bad. Now, it's not as bad as Tower Hamlets or Luton, but I'd rather live in Slough than Gosport. No offence to people who live in Gosport, but Slough just didn't feel that dangerous, and Gosport did. So Gosport's going to have to go in D tier by default. Next up, I've got Cardiff. I love Cardiff. It's so nice. I'm putting in S tier. Welsh people are so cool, they're so friendly. Next up I've got Canterbury. It's a nice place, it's got its issues. It's been ranked as the second worst place to live in Kent, which to be honest is total arse. There's no way that it's the second worst place to live in Kent compared to other places. Yeah, Canterbury's nice. It's going in the top of A tier. I'd rather live in Cardiff than Canterbury personally. It's just got more soul to it, if that makes sense. But Canterbury is undeniably beautiful and pretty and fairly safe, to be honest, as well. Next up we've got, we're trying to think where I did this video. I think it was Littlehampton in West Sussex, wasn't it? Yeah, Littlehampton in West Sussex. Abandoned theme park, but it was off season, keep that in mind. Yeah, it felt pretty dangerous when I was there at night, because it was one of my 24-hour challenges. It felt pretty dangerous at night. In the day it was fine, fairly friendly people. It's just going to go in C tier. Like, it's there, it exists, it's pretty forgettable, unfortunately, if I'm being brutally honest, but I'm sure it's nice in the summer. Next up, we've got Medway. I love this video, it's one of my best videos. My local guy was brilliant. We've got a few hate comments from locals, like insulting the way he was pronouncing words, which I just think is not on, but yeah, it was a good video. Chatham, on the other hand, and Gillingham, I have to do an even, because I mean, Gillingham C tier, there's a good community spirit, friendlier people, but it is very deprived. Chatham, slightly less deprived, a lot more investment, but it definitely felt more dangerous. Literally everyone on that street was a crackhead. So yeah, it has to go in either C or D tier, but it's not as bad as Dover or Waterlooville, so it has to go in D tier, I'm afraid. Next up, I've got Eastbourne. Eastbourne's fine, to be honest. Like, it's probably nicer than Hastings, but there's less to do than Hastings, so by default it has to go next to Hastings, I think. Next up, we've got Oxford. You've got Blackbird Leys, which is, you know, a classic council estate basically, but apart from that, you go into the town centre. Super friendly people, the friendliest people in the south of England, might I add. Super stunning architecture and the smartest people in all the country, or some of them at least, lived there. So I'm going to put Oxford in S tier. Like, I'd probably put Cardiff just above it just because I really like Cardiff, but Oxford, it would be unfair to put it any lower than S tier. Next up, we've got Croydon. D. It's D tier, isn't it? It's Croydon. It's probably the worst one on the list. Southampton, like, it's fine, it exists. C tier. It's slightly better than Portsmouth, but it's pretty dodgy in areas. Nonetheless, it's fine. It's got a really nice new bit by the seafront, so definitely go to Southampton if you get a chance. Really nice shopping mall, probably the best shopping mall in Hampshire. Oh god, yeah, Sheerness. The D tier is getting a bit crowded. Sheerness. Watch the Sheerness video. That's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want to explain too much of what happened on that day here. But many people said that they wanted to do some terrible things to me after that video. So it's the only video I've ever made where I had to turn off the comments. So yeah, very unfriendly people in Sheerness. This isn't representative of the Isle of Sheppey, by the way, but just Sheerness in particular. It's very run down. Maidstone, I love. Definitely top of A tier. It's better than Canterbury, purely because it's a little bit cheaper to live there, and the people of Maidstone are super nice. I remember just getting a really positive response on that video, and people in the pubs talking to me and stuff like that. Everyone was so nice. Maidstone's underrated as well. No one knows about Maidstone. Everyone knows about Canterbury. Next up, we've got Southend. Not as bad as what people say, but it's got its issues like many places in Essex. But it's not that bad, to be honest. I'm gonna put it. It's better than Dover, but it's probably worse than East. Well, I'm going to put it in B tier, fine. Southend's nice because it's got very friendly people in Essex, to be honest. I think just the more north you go in the country, the people get friendlier. So yeah, by default, it's going to have to go in B tier. However, the other place that we filmed in Essex isn't going in, well, in that tier at all. It's going to go in a completely different tier, and it's going to go straight to the bottom of the list, and that is Basildon. It feels a bit dodgy, it feels a bit dangerous, there's not much investment going, and I'm sorry to say it, but it has to go in D tier. It's in a sorry state, I'm afraid. Next up, we've got Blackpool. Now, Blackpool is also in a very sorry state, and it's got very many similarities with Basildon as well, so it's going to go in D tier as well. Very friendly people though in Blackpool, I will say that. So think of it as the top of D tier. It can't go worse than Luton or Sheerness. They're the two by far that are the worst. Blackpool's super friendly people, and they deserve buckets better. And last on the list, it's another S tier. We're going to end it with the best town on this entire list, or the best city, should I say, Liverpool. Liverpool people, Scousers, so friendly, badass accent, really good nightlife, really good food, beautiful buildings. What a great city. I just remember walking around that city and just everyone was being incredibly friendly. It was a complete culture shock to me, because I just wasn't used to people being so friendly in the UK. I came in there thinking it was going to be a nasty place. I came out absolutely loving the north of England and Liverpool. So Liverpool, without a shadow of a doubt, thank you for everything. S tier, easy. And with that, that is my tier list. What did you think? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video.